We're back with Rakdos Burn, and we've made some changes to the sideboard. And if you haven't already seen the first video of this deck, now would be a good time to go watch that, although you don't really have to. But let's dive right into it. So we have quite a few changes to the sideboard, and if you remember from the last video, life gain was a huge problem for us. So we added an extra Rain of Gore, and we also added Leyline of Punishment. Both cards shut down life gain, and they're really crucial cards because life gain is like our arch nemesis. Like if our opponent has life gain, it's really hard for us to finish it off. We also added 2 Molten Rain, which really helps in the Tron matchup. We get to destroy a non-basic land and our opponent takes 2 damage, so it's a pretty good deal. And some cards that carried over from the first version, Harsh Mentor, Searing Blood, and the Rakdos Charms, all of which are pretty good in this deck, especially Rakdos Charm, which is really good at removing graveyards. And the biggest change that we have here is that we don't have white in the deck anymore. So version 1, we had 1 Sacred Foundry in the deck to splash white, and now we have 1 Stomping Ground in the deck to splash green. Besides life gain, another thing we have to be concerned about is Leyline of Sanctity. So if our opponent has Leyline of Sanctity out, we can't target them, which is a huge problem for our deck since so many things target our opponent, which is why this card here comes in really handy. Destroys an enchantment and their opponent also takes 2 damage because of it, and it also works on artifacts. And we also added 2 Atarka's Command. It stops life gain, and since we are a bit heavier on creatures than most burn decks, sometimes it's nice to have that +1/+1 ability. And overall, it's just a better version of Skullcrack. But yeah, other than replacing Sacred Foundry with Stomping Ground, the main deck is completely identical to before, with the only difference being the sideboard. But the deck does feel a lot different with the sideboard being this different, but we'll have to see how it goes. So let's dive right into the gameplay. Here it is. Opening hand looks really good. We'll keep it. Drop Goblin Guide and swing in for 2. And opponent uses Fatal Push. Sure. Alright, we'll fetch for Mountain and drop both Monasteries and swing for 2. Dark Confidant. Might as well hit it with Searing Blaze, so that's taken care of. And then we'll finish up with Bump in the Night and swing in for 6. Alright, pretty close to lethal. See what our opponent can do. Scavenging Ooze. Alright, now is probably not the time to activate it because now there's like no mystery of what's going to happen because I don't have to worry about him gaining life because now I can just bolt him right here and we win. Hooray! Hard-earned victory. So he looks like Jund minus the red, black, green stuff. So pretty cool. Going into game 2, we'll run 3 Rakdos Charms so that we can remove his graveyard if we need to, and swap out 3 Lava Spikes. Other than that, we're going to hope he doesn't have Leyline of Sanctity. And also, I think maybe just in case he does have life gain, put in one of these in case he has life gain, and then get rid of our last Lava Spike. And with that, let's go to the next game. Opening hand looks good. We'll keep it and hope we're not Thoughtseize or anything. Nope. We pull Monastery, so we'll swing with that. Opponent goes to 19, and we'll pass the turn. Okay, no plays from our opponent. Do we drop Eidolon? I think I'd rather drop Vexing. Well, we'll swing in, assuming our opponent has removal. Yep, Abrupt Decay, sure. And instead of Eidolon, let's do Vexing. Opponent lets it stay, sure, and then we'll drop a second Vexing. Alright, so the opponent let this one die, so I assume he has some removal in hand. Liliana makes us sack a creature, sure. What do we do here? Well, Bump of the Night won't redirect to Planeswalkers, right? Yeah, it's not damage. So suppose we just drop Eidolon, and then if he plays anything, then we redirect to Liliana, so we'll have to be prepared to discard something, maybe Bump in the Night or Searing Blaze. Alright, discarding. I think I'd rather get rid of Searing Blaze, honestly. And opponent drops Maelstrom, so we'll redirect to Liliana to kill Liliana. Our turn, we have another Eidolon. Do we drop that Eidolon? I think so. So let's drop Eidolon, pass the turn. Tarmogoyf, and it's a 6/7. Ouch. So we'll drop 1 Bump in the Night, and then Rift Bolt will suspend, and then pass the turn. Opponent uses Fatal Push. Sure. That means we won't take damage from our spells next turn, so that's actually kind of good for us. Transverse. Searches for Kitchen Finks, but I don't think he'll be able to survive. Well, it could be at 1, actually. Actually, no, we have Rift Bolt. I totally forgot about Rift Bolt. Opponent's at 4. We'll make them lose 3. Goblin got a Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt is a safer option, so we'll finish him off and win the match. Not too bad. This could have been actually a pretty tough matchup for us. I mean, Kitchen Finks, if that had come out sooner, or Tarmogoyf, if that had come out sooner, it could have been really tough, but we got pretty lucky. But that's the magic of Burn. Or more like just cramming a bunch of cards that make your opponent lose life, but whatever. Opening hand looks really good. Hopefully they have creatures though, because we have 2 Searing Blazes in hand. Okay, Arid Mesa. Play it safe, get a Mountain, drop Monastery, and swing in for 1. Alright, pass the turn. Sacred Foundry. Either White-Red Prison. Oh, Jeskai Control. That's also a possibility. Which means that Searing Blaze might be hard to pull off. So we'll swing in for 1, and then drop Eidolon, so if they counter our stuff, they'll take damage. And pass the turn. And we get hit by Path to Exile. Sure. Okay, Blood Crypt. Do we drop it? Yeah, I suppose. We'll start with Bump in the Night, and swing in for 2. Do we have Snapcaster? Yep, that's what I was hoping for. So before that goes through, let's Searing Blaze our opponent, which is why I dropped the Blood Crypt untapped earlier, because now we can play Rift Bolt. Opponent pass our guy, and then Rift Bolt and pass the turn. What? Well, that's a card you don't see that often, and we happen to have lethal now, so with that creature out, we can use Searing Blaze on that creature to hit our opponent for 3, and then just hard cast Rift Bolt, and that's game. So interesting Jeskai build, this guy. Alright, so going into game 2, let's get rid of Searing Blazes and 1 Lava Spike, and instead put stuff in for life game in case he has it. Also 1 anti-enchantment card and Molten Rain to take out a land in case they have Celestial Colonnade. And with that, let's go to game 2. Opening hand has too many lands, so let's Mullet. I suppose it's a step up, so we'll keep this. This guy on top. And glad to see our opponent doesn't have Leyline. Let's start by sending Monastery out to get Path. Hey, what do you know? And now we pass a turn. I'm not sure if he's worth the Path on turn 1. Like, there's better things to Path. And speaking of that, it looks like he has another one. So we'll drop Rift Bolt and then Eidolon. And no Path from our opponent. Alright, wow, so this is an interesting build. I have seen this card played in Modern before, though. It's not a bad card. I mean, it has Vigilance, Flying, and Haste, and it's a 3/3 for 3. So I see why people want to play it. It's got a lot of attention in Standard back when it was in Standard. But anyway, I'd rather see that than like counter or Path. And we'll take this guy out so we can attack. Drop a Bump in the Night. Man, we're already at 11. And swing for 2. Pass the turn. Alright, let's attempt to swing for 2. See if their opponent drops a Snapcaster. No Snapcaster, but he does drop Spell Queller. So we will bolt that thing because we don't want to lose our Eidolon. Opponent takes 2, goes down to 9, and we'll pass the turn. 5 lands untapped. There's a lot he can do with that. I suppose we drop Swiftspear. Man, our life's getting low. It's a bit risky, but let's hit him with Lava Spike and swing for 4. I'm sure he has something. He's gonna have to like flash either a Spell Queller or like a Snapcaster. Lightning Helix. Alright, that's inconvenient. Opponent's at 5, we're at 4. Pass the turn. Dang life gain. And look at Magic Online. Like, it never gets the colors right on this card. I don't know what it is about this. Should be gold. It's red. We hit a land, which means we can use Bump in the Night if we want to, but we have to fetch to get it, and that's gonna put us down to 3. So if our opponent has Lightning Bolt, then we're dead. But if they don't, we can hit him for 5 this turn. So let's just go for it. And if they have a Lightning Bolt, then good for them. Alright, let's attempt it. Will they counter it? Spell Queller? Nope, but he has Cryptic. Alright, Monastery goes back to hand, and now we have to pass the turn. Opponent has 1 card in hand, played a land this turn, and this could be it. Let's see what we got. Alright, no blocks from our opponent, and we'll attempt to drop this guy. And now it should be good enough to close it out. Will we close it out? And we do close it out. Alright, cool. So not too bad. I mean, it's an interesting build of Jeskai, but I don't feel like it was the best build it could have been, like, or at least against us. A few creatures here and there, but they're both within range of our removal. But yeah, pretty interesting. And let's move to the next match. Opening hand looks good. We'll keep it. And we'll start off with Monastery, swinging for 1. Expedition map and Darkslick Shores together? Have I ever seen that happen? It's like a really janky Tron deck? Well, I guess we'll find out. We'll swing in for 1, and then drop Eidolon and pass the turn. Trespasser's Curse. Well, I suppose it's a first for everything, but let's try and finish this off quickly. Bump in the Night, and we'll suspend Rift Bolt and swing in for 4. Alright, pass the turn. Ah, Forbidden Orchard and this. I see what they're doing. That's pretty cool. If they could get like a hard block and then just keep doing that, that could be a win. Oh, wow. Oh, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool. I don't think I would have thought of that. So we'll take 5 damage from that. And now the issue is our opponent gained a ton of life from that. Wow. I suppose you just fire off Lightning Bolt now, but it's a weird, awkward position because normally the opponent doesn't have life gain on the first game, so this is really weird. Rift Bolt comes down. Yeah, we should be able to win. Pretty interesting, but in the end, we barely eke it out. Now we gotta put in some anti-life gain stuff and probably just put some anti-enchantment stuff in as well. But you always gotta appreciate a good brew like this. Like, look at that. Like 5 creatures your opponent gets, and then this. That's a pretty cool combo, and this works pretty well. If they could just like hard lock us with something like Ensnaring Bridge or something, then maybe it has a shot. But pretty cool. Going into game 2, I really don't have to deal with life gain, so we're putting in both Rain of Gores, Leyline of Punishment, and 2 Atarka's Command. We also have the anti-enchantment and anti-artifact cards here, and we're going to take out our Searing Blazes and Lava Spikes, and they could have Leyline of Sanctity anyway, so with that, let's go to game 2. None of the sideboard cards in hand, but our hand's pretty sweet. 2 lands, 2 creatures, I think it's keepable. Steam Invisions. Alright, so we'll get a mountain and swing in with Goblin Guide. Land on top, and now we pass the turn. Nothing from our opponent. Alright, Blood Crypt untapped. We'll drop Bump in the Night, see if they counter. They do counter, and now we'll drop the card we didn't want countered, which was Goblin Guide. So we'll swing in with Goblin Guide. What's this on top? Well, we gotta watch out for that. And Trespasser's Curse. Well, let's just go for it. Swing in with everything. Opponent's an 8. We can almost finish them off this turn. Shoot. And gain a bunch of life. We'll drop 2 Rift Bolts and pass the turn. Expedition map. And it looks like this could be it. They could tap both of these, but it's only gonna be 2. And then we have Bump of the Night and Lightning Bolt to finish it after that. And opponent throws this in as well, but that doesn't really do anything though. So far off the second Rift Bolt, and that looks like game. So let's use Lightning Bolt, see what happens. And there's the win. Alright. Opening hand has too many lands. Let's mull it. This seems about right. Vexing Devil, yeah, on top. And Thoughtseize, sure. Will we see Death Shadow come out? This turn, I suppose we use Lava Spike and then pass to our opponent. Maybe not Death Shadow? Abzan Delirium? I mean, like, he knows we have this. Oh well, let's fire it off. Takes care of that. Opponent goes down to 9, pass the turn. Liliana, discarding Bump in the Night. Man, this thing's annoying. We'll try and fake him out. I guess we'll just drop Eidolon. I mean, he's just gonna make us sacrifice it, but whatever, pass the turn. Yep, time to dump our hand. Drop Vexing Devil, opponent lets it stay, and we'll bring back Eidolon and pass the turn. Had we not playing Vexing Devil, we could have brought back Eidolon, given it haste, and taken out Liliana, which might have been a better play. But he's kind of in a tough spot now where, like, he could make us sack a creature, but then Liliana dies. He could use a +1, but then we don't discard anything, so I feel like this might have been the better option. Yep, and we're forced to sack a creature. He does have this guy, and if we attack with Eidolon, it will kill it, and we could give it +. I feel like the safer option is to hold back and keep Eidolon. Opponent drops Fatal Push to kill Eidolon. Alright, opponent goes down to 6, and it's going to swing in with the lifelink guy. Well, we have Bump in the Night, I guess. I mean, I'd rather have Lightning Bolt take out that thing. Pass the turn. A second one. Swings again for 2. Land. Didn't want to see that. And we'll pass the turn. Third one. Swings in again. Lava Spike. Sure. Pass the turn. Jeez. Well, we pull Eidolon. We could give it haste, but then he can block with this. Yeah, no. Opponent got it. Going into game 2, let's get rid of our Lava Spikes and Revel and put in this stuff here for like life gain and all that random stuff. So with that, let's go to the next game. Opening hand looks pretty good. Let's keep it. Let's start by dropping Monastery and swinging for 1. Do we have a Fatal Push or a Thoughtseize Inquisition? Sure. Kind of a tough thing to Inquisition, because if he gets rid of Devil, then we can bring it back. If he gets rid of this, we can flashback it in or Aftermath it in. Get rid of a Searing Blaze, but we have 2 of them. And opponent decides to get rid of this. Okay, might as well use it. So we'll pump Monastery and deal 4 damage to our opponent and pass the turn. What will our opponent do? Whoa. Alright, so we had to discard Searing Blaze, killed Monastery. So we'll attempt to drop Vexing. Opponent lets it stay, and then we'll hit him for 3. I assume they have creature removal in hand if they let this guy stay. Grim Flare. Alright, then now we'll drop Searing Blaze to kill this thing. And opponent passed our guy, sure. And now Grim Flare is out of reach of us. Shoot. Well, pass the turn. Opponent hits us for 4. Ouch. And the Goyf. So let's fetch and see what we draw. Bump in the Night. I mean, can we get there? It's going to be really tough. Let's fire up Bump in the Night and pass the turn. Opponent swings for 8. If I'd known they had Tarmogoyf, I would have brought in Rakdos Charm for graveyard removal, because they do have Lingering Souls and this guy and this. Yeah, that was a misplay. Okay, let's see what we get. Darn. Well, we can bring lands back to use Bump in the Night. Hit our opponent for 3. I don't know, maybe they'll accidentally fire off a fetch land. Darn, we almost got there. But shoot, they got us. Yeah, mid-range is pretty hard. I mean, if we had Graveyard Hate, it would have been different probably, but I don't know. I didn't know they had Tarmogoyf because their deck seemed a little bit, I mean, I guess it's a typical Abzan deck. Just a little bit more like lower mid-range than usual. I don't know, I was so focused on the life gain part of it that I didn't really think about the whole Graveyard Hate. Well, maybe we would have won that match if we had done better with sideboarding, but we lost this one. Final match of the tournament, so we'll see how it goes. This hand here, I don't think we can keep it. 4 lands, 2 creatures. I mean, 2 creatures is okay, but I'd rather have 1 or 2 lands. Oh boy. Gosh, oh boy, this is bad. All right, well, bottom. Well, this is gonna be kind of rough coming back from a low hand size, but it looks like we're up against Titan Shift. So we'll drop this and pass the turn. We actually got a decent combo here. Opponent lets it stay, which means they probably have Lightning Bolt. Well, I don't want him blocking our guy, so we'll fetch for a mountain and use Searing Blaze so that he can't block. And even though he sacks it, he'll still take 3 damage because it has 2 different targets. Opponent goes down to 13. We'll swing to put him at 9 and pass the turn. Summoner's Pact? What is happening? He got Primeval Titan, but then dropped Through the Breach. Dang. Through the Breach actually isn't really in Titan Shift that often, so it's a bit of a surprise. It kind of came out of nowhere. It went from like this to this to that. We can try dropping Vexing Devil, or actually even better, let's try bringing back Vexing Devil. Will our opponent let it stay? He does let it stay, and then we'll give it haste and swing in for 6. Oh, right, he has 2 of them. Well, we lost. What would we have drawn the next turn? Well, shit, we would have won. Dang. It didn't help that we started off with like, what, 5 cards in hand. Let's go to the next game. Going into game 2, let's get rid of our Searing Blazes and 3 Lava Spikes to bring in a lot of anti-life gain stuff, because we don't want them gaining life, and usually Titan Shift decks have that Bailiff card that gains them 4 life, so we just can't let that happen. And yeah, let's get rid of these, put these in, and go to the next game. Darn, 4 lands in hand, only 1 creature. It's kind of like game 1 all over again. Do we mull it? I mean, we kind of have to. I mean, we need to be fast, and this is much better. Yeah, 2 creatures, 3 lands is much, much better. Vexing Devil, keep it on top. Although Goblin Guide against him is kind of bad for us because he has so many lands in deck. Usually I think they run like 26 or 27 lands for a Titan Shift deck, but we'll swing anyway and hope that he doesn't have lands on top. No land, good. Opponent suspends Search for Tomorrow, and it's back to our turn. Let's swing in for 2, land on top. And I suppose we'll drop Eidolon and pass the turn. Opponent drops oh my god. That's a low blow. Well, it's gonna be pretty hard to finish it off now, considering that almost our whole deck is things that cost 1. So we'll swing in for 4. Opponent goes to 8. I mean, we have Rift Bolt to help us out, but man, that thing. He could actually get 4 mana this turn, so he could drop the Bailiff or Baloth. Am I saying it right? Wow, and they actually concede. Whoa, what just happened? They must have had a really bad hand. I mean, we were going to probably finish them off because we would have dealt 3 of them. We really need to have some anti-artifact stuff for that because we just can't let Chalice stay there. Gosh, should we swap out 2 of these for 2 of these? I mean, what if it's his only artifact enchantment card? I mean, we kind of have to do it. I mean, maybe he has Leyline also. I mean, actually, you could have that 1 enchantment card, the Prismatic Omen card. All right, let's go to the next game. Opening hand actually looks pretty good, so we'll keep it. Pull a Stomping Ground. All right, so we'll either drop Monastery or Goblin. Like, I don't know. Which one's better? Because, like, in his deck with, like, 26, 27 lands, like, I just hate it when he draws lands. And he has 5 cards in hand. I don't know. Should I play a Goblin Guide or Monastery Swiftspear turn 1? I don't know. Reading's hard. I guess Monastery. I just don't want him drawing. I mean, Googling it didn't really help that much, but I think I saw a couple people saying that, like, Monastery turn 1's okay over Goblin Guide, so, like, I just don't want to feel bad about it. What an asshole. What an asshole. Oh, man. Did we lose because of that? Well, I guess we just swing in. Do we, no, we'll save that for next turn. We'll steal 1. Drop Eidolon. Oh, man. All right, Tri-Builder. Our whole deck is shut off. And we could cast just to pump it. Man. All right, let's hopefully pull like some anti-artifact stuff, but there's only 2 cards that can do it. Man, oh man. Now let's pass the turn. Farseek. All right, we're kind of in an awkward position. Jeez. Swinging for 3? Do we pump? What if he has life gain next turn? Let's assume he doesn't and just do this. I mean, it's a bit risky, but we gotta do something. All right, so we'll pump them. Man, we actually got really close to finishing him. We could have just cast that, let it get countered, and pump this thing. Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? This, man, probably should have thought this through a little bit sooner. I was kind of thought he was gonna go off last turn, so wasn't really expecting us to have this opportunity. But what we could have done is we could have done this, which probably should have done this last turn. We just let it die. And then next turn, we can bring it back, or attempt to bring it back, but it'll get countered, right? This should counter this side of it, and then just the fact that we play it will trigger Monastery Swiftspear. And it might be too little too late. Ooh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, wait. He was at 2 life. Wow. Oh man, that was a weird match. I totally forgot that Eidolon was gonna hit him. Well, we survived with Chalice out, even though it shut off like our whole deck. But yeah, I mean, that was like a sloppy win. I guess like we won, but I don't know. We went 4-1, and our only loss was to Abzan. I don't know. I just don't feel satisfied though. Like I feel like the deck's good and it's up there with Rakdos Burn, but like I don't know what I expect to get out of this. But I still feel like I don't know the deck, and there's still so many matches we haven't seen. Like we haven't gone up against Grixis Death Shadow, which is like impossible. Like I don't even know how it's possible because it's like what, like supposed to be like at least 10% of the meta right now. So let's play some more matches, see if we can get a better idea of how this deck works, and play some matchups that we haven't seen yet. Opening hand looks good. We'll keep. I guess we'll fetch for a Blood Crypt. That's the downside of having this card in the deck, is that we can't really use the green part, and I can't really get a mountain here because then maybe we don't get a swamp and we can't use this. So hopefully we're not up against Burn. All right, swinging for 2. Merfolk. All right, this will be interesting. I think since we're on the play, we probably have a good shot at beating him. And this guy, who's quite annoying. Play this untapped. Swing for 2. All right, no blocks from our opponent, obviously, so then we'll Lava Spike him. Probably won't counter that, and then just when he thinks he's gonna have something to counter, we then fake him out and suspend. Hooray! Ah, shit. Well, that's unlucky for us. What do we do? Do we hit this guy? We could. Yeah, I think so. I want this on tap. No, I mean, not this turn, but the next turn. Good, we got another one of these guys. So we could actually wait till our opponent's turn to do this, and yeah, I guess we should do that. All right, this guy. I was kind of hoping for a more valuable target than that guy, but oh well, beggars can't be choosers. All right, so we'll fetch, drop Searing Blaze, killing this. Awesome. So let's first drop this guy. Opponent lets it die. We'll swing in for 2. That's a nice looking Ether Vial. And we'll bring him back. Wah, wah, wah. Oh man, that feels so satisfying. It's like a little bit of, you know, freshness right there. Lord of Atlantis, and drops Ether Vial. Don't think he can worm his way out of this. And nope, because we're gonna drop this. And our opponent concedes, and I don't blame him because we would have dropped Lava Spike. He would have tried to counter, but it wouldn't have worked. If he didn't try and counter, let 2 go through at the very least. So yeah, good times, good times. Going into game 2, we should probably get rid of the Vexing Devils, but we're not. We're gonna get rid of 3 Lava Spikes, put in Searing Blood, Harsh Mentor, and Rakdos Charm. Rakdos Charm for Ether Vial. Also late game, it can deal damage equal to creatures. So let's go to game 2. Opening hand looks really good. We'll keep it. I wonder if he has Dispel. Well, doesn't matter. We're going to drop Goblin Guide, swing for 2, and pass the turn. Opponent drops this thing. Let's see. I mean, I want to drop Eidolon. We could just use Searing Blaze. I guess we'll see if he wants to trade first. Opponent does not trade. Okay. And we'll drop Eidolon and pass the turn. I am worried about this guy, though. Master of the Waves would be a total nightmare for us. Oh, man. Speaking of nightmare. Well, so much for Searing Blaze. Opponent swings for 2, no blocks. And it looks like he's going to have us locked out next turn, so might as well swing in with creatures while we can. So swing with everyone. No blocks, so we'll get a mountain, bolt him. I guess we could use Bump in the Night. Might have been a minor misplay, but I really wanted to fire off Rift Bolt and pass the turn. And we should have the win soon, because like he's at 5. Opponent drops Master of the Waves, which means it looks like we win. Rift Bolt hit our opponent for 3, and we'll finish up with Bump in the Night. Awesome. All right, we got it. Pretty good, pretty good. Merfolk just a bit too slow for burn, although he did have this guy, which would have made it really hard to win had we not had the cards to finish without attacking. Well, that was fun. Opening hand, we have 1 land. Ah, jeez. I mean, we could keep, but it's a Stomping Ground. We have no green in this deck, at least not main deck, so let's mull it. Yeah, this is better. All right, Eidolon on top. Drop a Goblin Guide, see what we got for our opponent. Spellsky? What? It's like Bogles? Infect? I don't know. Tron? Uh-oh. Darn, this guy's actually really good against us. Shoot. Swing for 2. I think it looks like Mono Blue Tron. Haven't seen that for a while. So let's drop Eidolon, pass the turn. And a Chalice for 1. Wonderful. Well, there goes our whole deck. But let's swing in for 4. Man, this is gonna be rough. All right, suspend this. Pass the turn. Crap, and we know he has a repeal in hand, so we can just bounce this guy, and then we can't play it again. Shoot. Opponent drops Spellskite. Rift Bolt comes down. We'll target him, see if he redirects. No redirect. All right, we'll swing in with these guys. And if we had pulled the land, the game would have been over because of this. And the good news is this thing that can't redirect damage that would be dealt to him to this. Because if he's already a target, yeah. All right, pass the turn. Opponent drops Treasure Mage. He's going down to 1. Yeah, I mean, we could just use Searing Blaze and I think our opponent just lost. We can actually do it on this turn here. Yeah, let's try it. So we'll do Searing Blaze. Since the land didn't enter, we can only do 1 damage. And opponent won't be able to redirect because it's already a target. And counter wouldn't have worked because of this. Cool. Going into game 2, I'm gonna put in anti-land stuff. All of our Destructive Revelry, I can't even say it. Don't judge me. And then 1 Rakdos Charm for good measure, which destroys target artifact as well. And with that, let's go to game 2. Can't keep this, let's mull it. Yep, this is better. Molten Rain makes it better. I think we should keep that on top. So on top. All right, we're looking pretty good. We'll do Goblin Guide, swing in. His deck should have about 20, 23 lands in it. So what are the odds that we hit 1? Pretty slim. Ooh, Dispel. Gotta watch out for that. Spellskite. Well, Spellskite will die next turn. And we should do it now before Dispel's a possibility. So we'll kill this thing and swing in for 2. Another Dispel. All right, cool. And that's lucky for us because we don't have any instants in our hand. Another Spellskite. Interesting. And they missed the land drop, right? Yeah. Do we just be like a super asshole and just kill his like only land? Or is one of his only lands? I mean, our Goblin Guy could find him another land. Do we even, yeah, we don't attack with it because he has this. It's actually not a bad idea, just not attack with anything. We could kill his land and then just drop this and just like let him ping him out. And pass the turn. Oh, he hits another one, shoot. And he just activate that, no fun. Well, I guess we just drop Goblin Guide and might as well swing with both. Opponent goes to 10. We'll drop the Lavamancer, and our opponent counters it. Okay. I thought I was going to fire that off, but I guess he really doesn't want this guy coming out. And then we'll just suspend Rift Bolt and pass the turn. Opponent drops Treasure Mage to get Worm Coil. All right. Attempt to hit him for 3, and we get this guy. All right, let's just drop him. Hit him for 3. He can't redirect. And swing with all 3 of our guys. 1 will get through, at the very least. All right, and we're 1 bump of the night away from killing him. Oh, I guess that. We get Monastery. Is that enough to win? I bet he's keeping this for Dispel or Redirect, but I think this alone should win us the game. I just can't think of like what scenario would get him out of this. Yep, and our opponent conceded it. Nice, nice. All right. Well, that was cool. And we don't really see Mono Blue Tron that much anymore. It used to be a big deck like a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago, and now it's kind of died down a bit. But yeah, that Molten Rain came in handy. I'm glad I added it to the deck because there are quite a few Tron decks running around, like different versions of it, like mostly Eldrazi Tron, but also like Black-Green Tron and Blue Tron. Anyway, opening hand's all right. I guess we keep it. I mean, no creatures though. And we'll have to try to not be distracted by our opponent's username. Jeez. Oh gosh, I'm like a 5-year-old. Drop Riftbolt. What to do now? Too many lands. Well, I guess we'll fire this guy off and then fire off Lava Spike. And it's really hard to win when we don't have creatures, but hopefully draw some soon. All right, Riftbolt. We'll suspend it and then pass the turn. Living End. And Fulminator Mage. And he fires it already. Seems a little bit too quick to do it, but maybe he has Living End next turn. All right, so we'll get another one of them, even though we might just lose it right away. Riftbolt, hit our opponent down to 4. Gosh, no creatures, darn. So we'll pass turn. And that's the downside of this card is like every once in a while you'll have a series of plays where you don't draw a creature and then you're stuck with this in your hand. It's a bit awkward. And this is probably the point where people are like, if you were playing Boros Burn and you had Boros Charm, you would have been able to finish him off instead of playing this piece of crap. But you know what, this card's cooler. Searing Blaze, but no land. So we gotta pass. Ooh, Hollow One in a Living End deck. Pretty cool. And here comes Living End. Well, we better end this soon. Opponent kills our land. Good, it's the one we don't have any cards for. And I guess we don't have much of a choice. Let's drop Vexing Devil. He can't force us to sack it. Opponent can hit us for 12, it looks like. And only attacks with these two, sure. And this guy. Okay. Swinging for 4. Oh, like, he just cycle, and then it's just like, meh. Opponent trades. We'll drop another Vexing Devil. Opponent lets it stay, and then we'll bring back our other one, which will have to stay as well. So card did come in handy, I guess, thanks to Vexing Devil, and hopefully we can survive until next turn. Opponent swings for 4, no blocks, and drops another guy. Ouch. Darn, we're like 1 land away from doing something impressive. Like, we can drop this, followed by this. We could have made this guy 4 power, and then 4 power, 4 power. He would have been forced to block all 3. One of ours would still survive. He's forced to attack. Yeah, crap. And the problem is this and this alone can kill us next turn because of Swamp Walk. Well, it looks like we're going to game 2. Going into game 2, let's get rid of our Searing Blazes, 1 Grim Lavamancer, and 1 Lava Spike, and put in these guys here. This to get rid of life gain stuff, this to get rid of graveyards, and with that, let's go to game 2. Jeez, I don't know. 2 creatures, 4 lands. I guess we keep. It's a bit risky. I mean, if we didn't have 2 creatures, then I wouldn't have kept it. Drop Monastery and swing for 1. All right, swing for 1 again, and then drop Eidolon and pass the turn. Opponent just keeps on cycling. I mean, Eidolon doesn't really do that much against our opponent, sadly. All right, we'll fire off a Lava Spike and suspend Riftbolt. Although the thing with Eidolon is that once our opponent fires off Living End, like the card that he uses to get Living End will trigger this, and also Living End itself will trigger this. So technically they'll take him out for 4. So it's kind of worth it in the end. And plus we can just get a creature in and swing. And that's basically why it's good, is because you can swing with it. And I'm pretty sure he has it now. Ooh, but he drops the fairy instead. Interesting. So maybe he doesn't have it. Well, let's hit him there, and I think that should be it. If we hit him again, that means no matter how he blocks, he's going to take at least 2. So we'll swing with both, and our opponent concedes. All right, cool. All right, let's go to the next game. Oh man, 1 land. Do we keep it? Yeah, let's roll the dice. You're not a land. All right, let's drop Goblin Guide, swinging for 2. Opponent top decks that. All right, so we know he can pull it off if he needs to. Oh, good, another land. Swing for 2, and then we'll drop Eidolon. We might get 1 swing in with it, which would be really good, especially if we use a target's command with it. Wait a minute, did he miss a land drop? He did, didn't he? Damn, son. Well, there's a land. So let's fire this thing off while we can, and hope he doesn't have life gain. Opponent will be going down to 7 past the turn, and he probably is going to fire off Living End right now. But that will put him down to 3, which is in bolting range, because he's hit by this and by this. So down to 3. And all we need right now is a Lava Spike, and we get the game. All right, pretty cool, pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Eidolon's pretty good against Living End. Like, it's weird how, like, it's bad in the beginning because it's just cycling and not playing anything. But, like, when Living End fires, like, it hits your opponent for 4. Like, that's pretty good. And plus, they have no way of blocking it until they fire off Living End, so that's pretty good as well. And we didn't even need this guy, so mission accomplished. Well, we've been on quite the win streak for a while, so I'll keep playing till we lose. But given this hand, I mean, it looks like we're gonna win this one. This hand looks pretty sweet, so we'll keep. But I kind of just want to like move on from this deck because I have this like really interesting deck I'm tweaking. I haven't play tested it yet, but I have the layout for it. So opponent has like Grixis Miracle. Oh my, what is this? Grixis Miracles. All right, yeah, I kind of just want to lose because like I want to work on that deck. Like just talking about it, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like 4 Ensnaring Bridges, 4 Chalice of the Voids, like 4 Blood Moons. Like it just sounds so awesome. Like I just want to see what it looks like in action. All right, opponent top decks a land and pass the turn. What to do? What to do? Could drop Eidolon, but he could also have counter. So instead, let's drop a Monastery and another Monastery and swing for 4. Collective Brutality. Interesting. So some kind of discarding. Why would he need to discard? Opponent bolts 1 of them. Sure. And he takes 2. Do we have Collective Brutality? We do. And he uses all 3 of them. So I assume he's going to take Lava Spike. Actually, he takes this thing. It's interesting. Well, let's fire off Lava Spike, swing in for 2, and we'll finish up by dropping Eidolon. Alright, and opponent just, oh, what do they put on top? Oh, interesting. That's actually really clever. So it was a Miracles deck, but they put it back on top using that. So they discard the Miracle cards, put it on top, and so they can use the Miracle cost. That's interesting. Might be a bit too slow, but interesting. Drop Vexing Devil. Opponent lets it die. No cards in hand. Let's give this guy +2/+0, and that should be lethal. Alright, swing for 4, and there we go. Going into game 2, let's get rid of our Searing Blazes and put in Rakdos Charm, Harsh Mentor. Rakdos Charm to get rid of the opponent's graveyard, and that's about it. I don't think they have Chalice because they have like the whole return thing, so and that costs 1. So with that, let's go to the next game. 1 land. Do we keep it? I don't think so. For a fetch land, maybe, but this here, I guess this is better. Bottom, Seaman Visions. Alright, we drop a Goblin, guys. Let's swing in for 2 and pass the turn. Opponent discards a Miracle card. Will they try and use it though? I don't know. Swing in for 2. Opponent goes to 14, and then we'll drop Eidolon, pass the turn. And no plays from our opponent. Oh gosh, please, someone just beat us. Like, I want to start working on the next deck. Opponent Lightning Bolt, sure. Well, let's just pass the turn. Fire off Lightning Bolt. Opponent goes to 7. More lands. And opponent Lightning Bolts, and they have this on top. Well, that's going to deal 5 to us, it looks like. And he chose not to use it? Alright, that's a bit odd. More lands. Sure. Pass the turn. Oh, no, come on. Oh, darn, that's going to set us back. Now he's at 8. Opponent attempts to discard us, and they also gain more life. Well, since this thing's going to go away either way, might as well get rid of their graveyard. Have fun discarding our lands. Jeez, 12 to 10. Alright, let's fetch. I think it's actually only 1 land. Yeah, we've pulled every single... Wait, no, there's one more land we haven't pulled. There's one of these, but we're 1 land away from pulling like every like non-fetch that we have. And Lava Spike, sure. Bloodwater Entity, interesting. It's like Snapcaster. Oh wow! Now we've drawn like every land we could possibly draw besides the fetches. Wow, that is some interesting luck. Opponent gains more life. I guess we just buy ourselves some time and kill this thing. I mean, it's kind of sad, but whatever. Oh goody, another one, yeah. Goblin Guide? Sure, I mean, he's just gonna kill with the other thing, but do we wait? Might as well wait and try and, yeah, let's wait. And it looks like we're dead before it even matters, so let's just go to the next game. Oh my gosh, that was pretty bad. Well, no more lands. The rest of the deck is just like non-lands. These Rakdos Charms turned out to be overkill. They weren't really that reliant on their graveyard, so we can get rid of those and put in Atarka's Command and Leyline of Punishment for the life gain stuff. And with that, let's go to the next game. Opening hand looks really good. We'll keep, drop a Goblin Guide, swing for 2, Entreat the Angels on top. Wow, not what he wants to see. I mean, I love Entreat the Angels, but like, I don't know. He has a lot of colors in his deck. Let's swing in for 2, Delver's Secrets. Opponent takes 2, and let's attempt to drop Vexing Devil. Opponent opts to take the 4 damage. Well, guess what? He's coming right back. Will he take the 4 again? He takes the 4 again, so he takes 8 total from that. Pretty sweet. I mean, that's the combo the deck's built around, so so good. Opponent uses Collective Brutality using all 3 of them. That hurts. Well, let's use Bump of the Night, suspend Rift Bolt, and hopefully we can close this out before they do more life gain stuff. Another one of these. Oh my gosh. And he doesn't discard, so that means he has probably like some decent stuff in hand. But let's go to our turn and see what we draw. Leyline of Punishment. Well, now's not the time, but okay. This thing, oh my gosh, it's gonna get the life game stuff back. Fine, you know what? We're gonna draw a land next turn, and we're gonna drop this. How about that? Gosh, it's like the one time we don't want to draw lands. Alright, well, Goblin Guy, do we swing in? Yeah, let's just make sure he blocks. I don't want that thing getting by. We'll give it haste, even though it already has haste. We'll make it a 4-2, forcing him to block, or effectively forcing him. And he pulls another Collective Brutality on top. Okay. Opponent blocks. More life gain. Why can you be in the opening hand? Well, might as well just Lightning Bolt. Pass the turn. Delver. And he does have one more of these, doesn't he? Probably. Well, you know what? Too bad, because we're dropping this, and now no more life gain. But we could actually still lose this. Like, we're at 10, this thing flips, he can swing in. This takes like 3 swings, plus this. Luckily, it didn't flip. Gosh, it's been like the strangest game. Like, what? I don't even know how we got here. Like, what did we do? It's been like all life gain stuff. I mean, he didn't play this, but like, he kept playing Collective Brutality. Opponent swings for 1, and we get a land. Are you serious? Well, like I said, I like to post videos that give an accurate representation of the deck, and sometimes you just get flooded. Even in a deck with 20 lands and like 13, I think, are fetches. Or no, 11 refreshes. Oh my gosh, this guy again. And he puts Collective Brutality on top. I actually see how his deck works. Like, that's gonna trigger next turn for sure. Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. One land away from doing that. I guess we'll swing in with Goblin God. Swing in for 2. No blocks. Opponent goes down to 2. And we pass turn. Will he beat us? Wait a minute. Yes, he can. What am I even saying? Oh boy. Because that thing's gonna make us lose 2 life, even though he doesn't gain any. And that's just enough to finish us. Wow. Of all the matches to end our streak, who would have thought a janky Miracles Grixis with white in it with, I don't even know. You know what it was though, is like, I didn't know what he was doing, and I didn't realize he's just gonna keep looping Collective Brutality and getting life. So if I'd known that, I would have put in like the Rain of Gores. But you know, it's kind of cool to run across a new deck like this, and I never thought I would see this in Modern, but I guess it kind of works with Miracles and Delver. I mean, it could be a thing. It's a little slow, but the fact that I was able to beat out Burn, you know, it makes you wonder that, you know, might have a chance. Man, oh man. I mean, I guess the good news is I get to work on the new deck now. Yay! But the downside was that match was probably difficult to watch. Like, it was pretty difficult to play because you're just like sitting there, like watching his life go down, and watching it go back up and then down. It's just like, felt like we weren't really doing anything. But you know what? I want to give an accurate representation of this deck, and sometimes you just get flooded against all odds. Like, sometimes you just draw every playable land in your deck, even though statistics say that shouldn't happen or should rarely happen, but if you play enough matches, it does happen. So looking back on the deck, I feel like it's super solid, and I think putting in these cards here really helped out. I mean, the main concern we had was life gain. And even though we've added a bunch of anti-life gain cards to the sideboard compared to the last version, you know, like Leyline of Punishment, Atarka's Command, Rain of Gore, that's like 5 cards total, it still gives us a lot of problems. And it seems like we draw the cards that we need like at the wrong times. Like, this guy is really good if it's in your opening hand, but then when it's not, like that last game, it's like kind of a bummer and just, you know, it's a little bit too late. Same thing with Rain of Gore, like if it comes up at the right time, like say it's in your opening hand and you drop it turn 2 and they're like, oh, I was about to play a life game thing, like then it's really good. But like if your opponent's at 3 life and you draw it, then it's kind of like, it's just really awkward. And a lot of times you don't really know that they have life gain, you're just kind of speculating because you're kind of trying to anticipate the sideboard stuff, but then what if they don't even have life gain? And maybe go to game 2 and you don't see any life gain, but your Rain of Gore is in there anyway, and it's like, do you keep it in if you didn't see any life gain? Like, maybe there is no life gain. The thing is, you never really know. So that's a bit frustrating with the deck. Other thing was that Searing Blaze got taken out a lot. Like, against creature decks, it's amazing. It's arguably the best card in this deck. But it seemed like we were getting rid of it a lot. So maybe like 1 less Searing Blaze or even 2 less Searing Blazes might be a good idea. I know back like with Naya Burn, I think 3 Searing Blazes was like the norm back then. So maybe we should cut 1 or 2. The other thing is that most Boros Burn decks run Skullcrack, like 3 to 4 of them. And we don't run any of them. So it might be a good idea to add that to our deck. I mean, it seems so stupid to like deal 3 damage to your opponent for 2 mana, especially when we have like Bump in the Night, Lava Spike. It's like we don't really need it, but then against like those certain matchups, it really does come in handy. So maybe get rid of like 2 Searing Blazes, put in 2 Skullcracks, or get rid of 1 Searing Blaze, put in 1 Skullcrack, and then put an extra Skullcrack in the sideboard instead of this thing or this thing, because these guys don't really get boarded in that much. I mean, good against creature decks. This guy is good against like infinite combos like Counters Company and stuff like that. But it just feels like it's really hard to balance. Like the whole deck's just trying to finish off your opponent like super quickly, and in the games where we do lose, like it always feels like we're right there. We're right about to finish him. And so that's what makes it so hard to like, put these cards in the sideboard, because it's like pulling Rain of Gore when you're trying to finish off your opponent can mean the difference between like winning and losing. If they don't have life gain, then it's just totally pointless to have. So it's like a weird spot. I mean, like Rakdos Charm works really well because a lot of times, even if they don't have stuff in their graveyard, you can still do the damage ability. So Rakdos Charm is perfectly fine. Same thing with this card here. It can deal 2 damage when you do it. Atarka's Command as well. It's basically just like Skullcrack but better. And Molten Rain feels the same way. But Rain of Gore and Leyline of Punishment, like I still don't really know about it. Like they're necessary, but at the same time, it's just so frustrating putting them in. Because if we would have put the Rain of Gores in last game, we probably would have had a good chance at winning. But who would have thought that life gain would have been that relevant, So it's like a huge gamble to run it. Anyway, that's all for now. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see more videos like that, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I wasn't planning on making this many modern videos, but like it does seem like people like modern videos. I mean, before this, people seemed to really like standard videos and kept coming to the channel for standard videos, but with like all these people subscribing for modern videos, I feel like that's like the perfect excuse for me to start making more modern videos. Because before, when I made modern videos, nobody watched them. But I love modern. I'd be happy to make more modern videos. But anyway, that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day.